Hi everybody, I'm going to go ahead and start my presentation. It's on occupational toxicology. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the table of contents. So I will be discussing what is toxicology, occupational toxicology and its effect on workers, preventative measures, personal protective equipment, product labeling, some examples of toxicology, Ontario Health and Safety legislation, signs of exposure, and what to do if you're exposed to these chemicals at work. What is toxicology? So it is stemmed from the nature, effects, and detection of poisons. Occupational toxicology is a study of chemicals related to workplace illnesses. Toxicologists will often assess and examine hazards related to chemicals encountered at work. So here we will be discussing the effects on workers. Chemicals can enter our bodies through 4 different routes. Okay, so a few of them are skin absorption, skin penetration, ingestion, and inhalation. Although low chemical exposure does not pose a significant health risk, high exposure can cause significant consequences, from major injuries, illnesses, and even death in some cases. Prevention. Okay. So it is an employer's duty to train all workers. Most workplaces do have an IRS, internal responsibility system, in place. The IRS is a collaborative approach where all workers come together to discuss and resolve any safety concerns. Training and WMS, the use of personal protective equipment, for example, gloves, face shields, safety boots, etc. Labeling of products, so the proper storage and handling of the chemicals that are being used. So some of the personal protective equipment and product labeling. All workers should be wearing their own protective gear. As mentioned before, we have some examples here. Safety shield, some masks, gloves. There are a few others that we can also go ahead and use. WMS training is essential as it provides workers with the knowledge on chemical signs and their meaning. So this is key as it helps workers in identifying the product and how it can be used and stored. For example, we may want to use product labeling, as it does provide additional information on the product. Types of chemicals we may encounter at work. That are not limited to. So we have a few listed here, as you can see. Some of them are mercury, silica, asbestos. There's a few there that I've gone ahead and listed. Exposure to these would result in injuries, including burns, rashes, throat and lung injuries, and nerve injuries. Guidelines and procedures. Some health and safety guidelines are in place to protect workers from exposures to chemical substances and or materials. Compliance is very crucial. Employers and employees alike must all abide by the guidelines to ensure measures are followed to avoid any injuries. There are a few legislations and regulations in place to protect workers. I've listed a few here. Some of the regulations are as follows. One of them is appropriate skin protection is provided to workers. So we must follow these to help assist in prevention in regards to being exposed to any chemicals or any chemical substances or materials. Some signs of exposure include skin deformalities, loss of the nervous system, and respiratory complications. So it is important that we recognize these signs. So exposure to chemicals can affect people in many different ways. We can all react in different ways as well. So recognition of these symptoms will then go ahead and diagnose the situation and proceed with treatment to help the worker rehabilitate. What to do if you have been exposed to chemicals at work? Unfortunately, oftentimes accidents may happen. So even though employers are following rules and safety guidelines, accidents can happen. It is very important to aid the worker who may be in harm if exposed to these chemicals. So there are a few steps that we can follow if you've been exposed to chemicals at work. So the first one is the best thing to do is to report your exposure to any supervisor immediately. Explain to them how the incident occurred. You would then proceed to get any medical treatment if needed. Depending on the severity, you may need to take some time off of work to rehabilitate. If this is required, you can also seek compensation. You may be entitled to apply for workers' compensation. So you can contact the workplace when you're feeling better and ready to work. You can discuss your return date with your employer. To conclude, toxicology in the workplace is essential. It's a vital component for workers to aid in assessing, addressing, and implementing new procedures to assist in the overall handling and usage of chemicals at work. Continued training, including WMS, the use of protective gear, handling and labeling of the products, assists in maintaining a safe workplace. Prevention is key. Compliance to these guidelines and consistency from employers and employees help keep the workplace safe. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and that concludes the presentation here. Thank you so much.